This is our new economic version of a float frying donut fryer. We have 18 by 26 inch tray feeding with cloth. We have a splash guard here. We have one turning station, and then we transport the donuts out. Why do we do that new? Because you already have in the US a lot of Belshaw equipment. We want to serve the customers a little bit better and more stable. So what we do is, for example, we use Ventless Motors. We divide the kettle into two heating zones. So we have two separate heating sensors, because when the donut falls in here, it needs much more heating energy than in that part of the fryer. So what we do is, with one sensor, we control the heating element here, and with a second sensor here, so that this heating element, for example, works with the 70% of it of the time, and the other one can only work with 30% of the time. That saves you a lot of energy, and that maintains a stable temperature from the beginning to the past. If you have just one heating zone, then here the temperature drop in the oil is dramatically, because you normally just measure in the center. But here the temperature of the oil then is much colder. We avoid that by using two different temperature zones, which are completely controlled and regulated independently. With that glass display control, we can store up to 7 different products. So you mentioned, for example, the mini donut, the medium-sized donut, the large donut, the long john, all the different kind of products have maybe different times and different temperatures. You can store them all in, and then you can just, by changing the program, the machine is fully adapted automatically. Splash guards here help avoiding any injuries by splashing around with oil. Cleaning the machine is very easy, because you can lift out the conveyor entirely, and then you can lift out, for example, the entire heating element. So you stay with an empty kettle. You don't need any tools for that. So cleaning is very quick and very easy. After finishing the production, you have a drain valve on the other side. You can drain the oil into, for example, an optional filter system. Then you filter the oil, and then you pump back the oil directly into the pan. So every day of production, you will have a freshly cleaned oil, which you can use a very long time.
So this model here is really the basic unit, but you have the ability to have automatic oil leveling?
That's correct. This is the basic, and let's call it the entry model, because there we have taken out all the comfort as much as possible to give the customer the possibility to also be able to start with a low budget fryer, but with the best end quality. You can add, for example, to such a fryer an automatic oil leveling unit. You can have an automatic melting unit. You can have an automatic filling unit. You can have touch panel control systems to run the entire system. And then the fryer is available in different sizes. So from 1,200 donuts an hour, for example, up to 8,000 to 10,000 donuts an hour, including automatic filling. Everything is possible.
Right, and so you mentioned that, like, for the Berliners, it takes 6 minutes.
Correct, yeah.
Which is a lot longer than what we spend frying them on the Berliner itself. Yeah. On this particular model, the numbers you're quoting me is based on that 6 minutes, right?
That's correct.
So ours would be much faster if you wanted to continue going with the way in which we're doing it, or if you'd want to upgrade and actually make your product, which I got to tell you, looks a lot better than mine, which I'm kind of jealous about right now.
The difference between a Berliner and the US so-called shell donut is that usually the shell donut in the US is coming from lamination. That shell donut is nothing else than a donut, but you don't stamp the hole out. The end product then will never raise up like a Berliner. The Berliner is traditionally made out of a ball. That means you have a tension in the dough. While proving the dough, it becomes a bigger volume, and then finally in the fryer with a closed lid before the first turn, it grows additionally. Now, if we are talking about the donuts and the laminated donuts, the US knows the laminated donuts. We in Europe, together with our sister company Kemper, we are doing the donuts from the ball. Why we are doing the ball? Because we have all the advantages then from the Berliner in the donut. We have a ball in the beginning. We flatten the dough. We make the pre-stamping. We cut a small skin out, and we just have a small cut in the donut. In that small cut in the donut is entering a minimum of oil, so you will never get a greasy donut. And you get a very nice volume because that dough still has a tension to rise like a very nice donut.
Well, I don't know. We used to make the ball. But we had a Fortuna,
Yep.
and it was an automatic Fortuna, and so when it created a ball,
Yeah.
it would actually create a little dimple on the underside,
Correct?
which sucked up the oil.
Yeah.
So I'm like going, well, I'm going to improve this. I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to shade out the Berliners. Well, we call them Bismarcks
Yeah.
in Chicago anyway.
All right, okay.
It was close to
Yeah.
Berliner, but
Improving
now
is very
ich bin
easy.
ein Berliner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what that bottom part? How do
Yeah.
you? I guess your machines are avoiding that because the Fortuna will put them in there every time.
To improve that, it's very easy. Throw the Fortuna out, take the Multimatic in, because the Multimatic is for the Bismarck or the Berliner perfect machine. It gives a perfect rounding shape and it closes the hole underneath. Because what happens during the proofing process, you put the hole on
Down.
the bottom side.
Yep.
Then during the warm heat and the humidity, it opens up again. And then during the frying, this hole is still open from the structure and there it's absorbing a lot of oil. So if you have that problem, you just turn your Bismarck around, and then if you see there around open dot, that's coming from
Rounder.
from the rounding. So
Yeah.
if you use the Multimatic, you close the hole correctly, you will not have that problem.